Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October the 20th, 2021. And of course, it is Wisdom Wednesday with Dr. Mary Segars. We are continuing to recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month for the month of October. And it is such an honor and a privilege to have my friend on, Josephine Roach, who will share her journey, her experience, and tell us more facts about this deadly disease called breast cancer. I want to welcome Josephine. How are you this morning?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast, Dr. Mary.
I'm just so glad you said yes. Well, I know Josephine is a dear friend. We belong to the same organization, All Women, All Ladies League. And when I first met her, I just knew that she was the kind of person I want to be around. I know she's an advocate. And let me tell the podcast audience a little bit more about my friend, Josephine Roach. Josephine Roach is a leader in the breast cancer community. She is a 4-year breast cancer survivor who has been advocating for women's health since becoming a physician assistant in 2003. She has been involved with the Komen Detroit Race for the Cure as a member of the planning committee for the past 8 years. What started out as a small volunteer job grew into a much larger one as she became chair of the team's committee for the Detroit race. She was named to the Komen Leadership Council in March of 2021. Breast cancer advocacy is her passion. She shares a monthly Zoom session on her breast cancer journey, facelift support group, called Journal and Journey with Josephine. And I've been involved in some of those sessions, and I tell you, I get teary eyes on some of it, but it's such a powerful awareness about breast cancer. Josephine has also founded her own Facebook support group called Where Hope Begins. All are welcome to join this uplifting, positive group. Josephine received her Bachelor of Arts degree in Communications Disorders and Sciences from Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. She received her Master's of Science in Physician Assistant Studies from the University of Detroit Mercy. Josephine's message to you is this: get your yearly mammogram. It could save your life. It saved mine. Wow, what a powerful bio. Josephine, wow, you want to just share a little bit with the audience about your journey, please, and how you found out about it and all of that?
Sure. Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Mary. So just a little background, like Dr. Mary had said, I was about 8 years ago, I joined Komen Detroit Race for the Cure Planning Committee. And just as a healthcare advocate, I was a physician assistant, as she said, and I just wanted to do something to help women, and I know men will, get breast cancer as well. So I joined this group. A good friend of mine told me about Komen. At that particular time, I had no connection to breast cancer, but that soon changed. So that good friend of mine who told me about Komen herself was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so the cause became much more personal to me. And then 2 years after her diagnosis in 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it became real clear to me why I was brought to this cause of Komen Detroit. I think things happen for a reason. And I believe also that God puts things in order. And I think that is why I was fortunate to belong to this organization when I was diagnosed. So I had already had experience with breast cancer patients. A lot of the committee members were breast cancer survivors. So it really made things a lot easier for me. So I was very blessed with that. My breast cancer was found on my yearly mammogram. In 2016, there was no sign of disease at all. And then within a year's time, in 2018, in my yearly mammogram, it had showed my breast cancer. And it was what was called triple positive, meaning positive for estrogen, progesterone, and HER2 positive. Like I said, I believe it was an aggressive type of breast cancer, stage 1, invasive ductal carcinoma. It was 1.7 centimeters in size. I could not feel it, could not feel it. And so then I went on downtown to the Carmanos Cancer Institute, where I had wonderful oncologists and nurses and staff, and went through 12 weeks of chemotherapy, 1 time a week. And also within that, also received an antibody treatment. And after that, I had radiation, and currently I'm on a drug called tamoxifen, probably for the next couple years. So that's the story, Dr. Mary.
I know. Well, let me ask you this too, Josephine. Is there any family history of breast cancer in your family that you know of?
So, so my mother had a half sister
Mhm.
that did succumb to breast cancer. But other than that, there is no other, close tie to breast cancer as far as, first degree relative.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to stress as well. That's sort of a misnomer about that you have to have a family history in order to get breast cancer. The two greatest risk factors are being a woman and getting older in order to get breast cancer. So I just wanted to stress that as well.
Yes. Thank you for giving us the truth about that, because you hear that always often. Your mother had it, or your aunt had it, so it's just a good point to always get your mammograms right yearly.
Absolutely. And if you feel something, or your intuition tells you something and it's before that 1 year, get yourself to the doctor. Get yourself to the doctor, because again, I have no idea when that breast cancer started growing. It was within that year's time. I really don't know when there's no way of knowing.
Right, right. What about the breasts, what they say, always do your self-examinations. I know one of your journals, journey talk, I remember you saying the importance of doing it. Can you share how important that really is? And we tend to forget that. I'm in the shower this morning. I said, okay, remember to examine my breasts, but I think we
Right.
take that so lightly. Can you share about that?
Sure. I mean, it is different ideas of thought where with self breast exam. I
Mhm.
don't think it's going to hurt to do a self breast exam.
Right.
It's easiest once a month in the shower. If you're still having your periods, your monthly cycle, it's best 1 week after that, because then your breasts are not as tender, because that time they are more tender. So if you wait a week, just pick a date, and you just do it. And if you feel anything, unusual in the shower, a new lump, discharge from the nipple, inverted nipple, anything that's out of the ordinary, even just looking in the mirror at your breasts afterwards, and making sure you go under, make sure you go here, because
Mhm.
this is where breast cancer travels next, under your arm into the
Oh,
lymph nodes.
yeah.
So doing that as part of your breast exam is very important.
Wow. There's different types of breast cancer. I heard you said what type you had. Do you know the different types? I'm just thinking breast cancer is breast cancer. Can you just tell us a little bit about the different kinds of breast cancer?
Sure. As you said in the introduction, I'm a physician assistant. I worked in internal medicine, so I do have a medical background
Mhm.
when I'm talking about these things.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that as well. But yeah, as a physician assistant, again, through our studies, yeah, we learned about breast cancer, but it was only when I was then diagnosed with breast cancer and started doing my own research
Mhm.
on my particular breast cancer that I realized how many different breast cancers
Mhm.
there were.
Mhm.
I can't speak to all of them because there are many, and there are many stages. And based on what stage you have, that will then dictate what treatment you have. So, like I said, I had triple positive. when the tumor was tested, it tested positive, and they give you a percentage of estrogen, progesterone,
Mhm.
and HER2. And then they also have what's called triple negative. And that means that none of that is found in the tumor. So that is one of a difficult to treat,
Okay.
triple negative. And then, like I said, there's so many different other ones that are located in different areas of the breast, in the milk duct,
Mm.
you know. I can't really speak to all of them, but just know that there are many different ones. Yes.
Wow. So I believe you kept a journal of that experience that you had. Do you want to just tell us a little bit what prompted you to even keep a journal? Was it something for to keep you going through that process?
Sure. Yeah. Again, being the type of person I am, I initially started just writing in the journal my appointments, because it was a lot to take in and to remember.
Right.
So initially, that's what I just started doing, just as a log. This is the date we had the biopsy. This was the result. So that's how it started. I had always journaled on and off throughout my life, and just it just helped me. I decided, you know what, I think I'm gonna just start writing. One morning I just started my journey, really. And it started off with not even knowing that I had breast cancer yet, and knowing I was going to get the biopsy. So that's really where I started my journal, and I carried it through. And like, you've been listening and on the Zoom once a month. I shared my journey to the end, which just happened in October, just a couple days ago on Monday, where then I went through and I described my treatment, my feelings, and I opened up because I just think people need to know. And I think sometimes breast cancer, because it's a woman's disease in a woman's organ, and I'm sorry, it's not just a woman's disease, but I think we don't talk about it enough. And even though it's very, very, I think they've done a wonderful job with breast cancer awareness in October,
Mm.
that many people are more aware. But I did the journal, and then decided to do the Zoom series, with the obviously the nudging of Dr. Anita Caprice, who's also in our all Michigan chapter group, and decided, to do it monthly, when she said women need to hear this, and they need to hear it monthly. So that's how I started the journal and the journey.
You had I was reading some statistics about how many women will die this year in the United States. It was very alarming. I think it was like 43,600 women will die in 2021 in the United States. When you look at those statistics, does that just, I know you're an advocate about trying to prevent it, but what do you think about those statistics? Are they pretty much right on, or because women didn't go get detected early? I mean, what are some of the basis behind those numbers? It's alarming.
Yes, it is very alarming. So I really think that, yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Let me first say, the
Mhm,
good thing is, since 1989,
mhm,
there's been a decrease in breast cancer. So that's good. And the reason for that is because of research,
mhm.
identifying what types of drugs are going to help what types of tumors. So that's the good news.
Yes.
The reasons, like I said, there are many.
Mhm,
Some women do put off that mammogram. They're scared. And some people think, it hurts, I don't want to do it. And then by putting it off, if they were potentially going to be diagnosed, they're going to be diagnosed at a later stage,
mhm.
which is found with Black women.
Yeah.
So typically Black women are found at a later stage of breast cancer. And again, other factors go into that. I'm not saying that's because they all, I'm not saying that. I'm just
I know.
saying that women,
Mhm.
that's one reason
Right.
they put it off. And, I think also it's just very important, again, to stress the yearly mammogram. Again, I did what was, I did the prevention.
Right, right.
Had I not, the breast cancer would have killed me. So, in the research, I just again want to stress the importance why we say we give dollars to research,
Mhm,
because one of the antibody treatments I had
mhm,
was founded 20 years ago out in California by a Dr. Slolum. And had it not been for him, had he not developed Herceptin, I
mhm.
wouldn't be here today. I followed him and read about his study, and unfortunately, women were dying while he was doing this study with
Yeah.
the type of breast cancer I had. So I just want again stressing the importance of research, and also saying
Mhm.
to those people who say, why isn't there a cure yet for cancer?
Yeah,
You know what? We're all different. Our genetic makeup is different.
it's true.
And, we cannot, um, all the tumors are made up differently.
Mm,
So it's not just a one thing.
mhm.
We talked earlier, there's multiple types of tumors
Right.
and cancers. So it takes time, it takes research, and it takes money to develop these new drugs.
Wow. We're talking about women, but I know you mentioned earlier that men can also be diagnosed with breast cancer. What is the percentage of that, though? And are they getting
Mhm.
more research for them versus the women? I mean,
So when I was doing a little bit of research this morning, I'm just going to look it up.
okay, sure.
That they, as far as the question about the research,
Mhm,
I'm not sure exactly what the research for men is.
mhm,
However, the statistic that I had found is in their men have a lifetime risk of getting breast cancer,
mhm.
1 in 833. In women, it's 1 in 9.
Wow.
In men, also, they were saying that there would be 2,650 new cases of invasive breast cancer diagnosed this year in men, and about 530 men will die from breast cancer. So, and then another statistics, breast cancer is about 100 times less common among white men than among white women,
Wow.
which is interesting. And all that information came from the American Cancer Society. So, yes, men get breast cancer too. Yes, the rate is lower, obviously, because of the hormones, I believe.
Yes.
um,
Mhm.
but yeah, research needs to be done, and more awareness needs to be put on this important topic of men, and also metastatic breast cancer, which is another type of cancer for women. We just need to bring more awareness. Metastatic breast cancer means that the breast cancer has spread, and now this person is terminal. However, they will live the rest of their life with breast cancer, and they can live a long life, but they need certain medications throughout their life.
Mhm. I had mentioned about the mammogram. Some women, particularly the minorities, they cannot afford to get a mammogram because they don't have insurance. I mean, are there any organizations or programs out there where women who are underprivileged can still take advantage of getting their annually mammogram? Is there such things out there like that?
Yes, there is.
Mm,
Carmanos has what's called the BCCCP program,
mhm,
and that is developed for women in the Tri-County area here in the Detroit, metro area,
mm,
to get mammograms. You have to meet a certain criteria, whether you are insured or have no insurance, and they offer mammograms and the gynecological exams, the pap smears as well. So that is one organization that I know does do that.
yeah. I just think that needs to be more, people need to be aware of that. Well, I don't have insurance, so I can't get it, and so that if we be aware of it, at least you can take advantage of that and try to keep your health, keep yourself healthy in that area as well.
That's true.
Could you tell us a little more about your treatment process? I know you were saying about you had chemo as well as radiation. My guest last week, Claudia um, Harris, she said she didn't have chemo, but she just had the radiation. So, do you want to share with the audience a little bit what that was like? And I know you talked
Sure.
about your deportation. I had to take your port out. I mean, I was just
That's right.
what you were feeling. Okay.
Yeah. So when you initially start your treatment plan, obviously you meet with your oncologist, and based on what the tumor study showed, that's where the direction you're gonna take with your treatment. Initially, I forgot to mention, I had a lumpectomy, meaning that the tumor was taken out prior to me starting my treatment. And then when your treatment starts again, your port, which is usually placed up here, goes in, and that's where you receive the treatments that you need, which makes it easier because you don't want to blow out a vein in your arm.
Mhm.
Some people can't, and they have to get it in the arm, but so that made it easier, made it much easier. So yeah, I went through, 12 weeks of chemotherapy, and I have to say, I went once a week,
Mhm.
and I know other people have more powerful drugs other than what I had.
Mhm.
Um, and that's why I could go once a week. Some women go every 3 weeks. The type of medicine I had, I was able to tolerate it once a week.
Mhm.
But yeah, you go through it, you don't feel too good. They give you steroids, and you get home, you're tired, but then the steroids keep you up the first night because you're on the steroids.
Right.
And I had the side effects. Of course, the most devastating side effect to me was losing my hair. It was not a pleasant experience. And the oncologist told me on day 17 of treatment, you will start losing your hair.
Mhm.
And he was right on, which was amazing. So I cut my hair real short. I usually had, if you didn't, I know Dr. Mary, you didn't know me before, but I had longer, dark hair.
Mhm.
But prior to starting chemo, I did that. I got my hair cut. My lovely hairdresser came to my home and did it for me. Then when I started losing it, it was very hard to see it coming out in clumps. So I did go to where I was getting a wig, and again, lovely woman, Jeanette, I'll never forget her name,
Mhm.
shaved my head, and my husband was there with me for support. And it wasn't as bad though as I thought. I looked at it while she was doing it. So yeah, and just and then I got fitted for a wig, which I would wear when I was out, but at home, I didn't wear the wig. And there's other side effects of the taste. Your taste is affected in your mouth. Nothing really tastes good. A metallic type taste.
Mhm.
Um, Nose very dry. Everything's dry. And again, you lose hair not just on your head,
Mhm.
it's everywhere. So the good thing is you didn't have to shave. I mean, as a woman, we have to shave, so that was nice.
Yeah.
um but yeah, those were some of the side effects I had. And then when I went on to radiation again, just some skin burning, as it continued. But again, if you just are on top of everything with the lotions and things, I had some cracking at the end, but I tolerated that.
Yes. So there's a life after cancer, right? And
There is.
that's a powerful thing because you think people have cancer, you want to feel sorry for them and gloom and doom, but it doesn't have to be that way, right?
No, it doesn't. And I wanna stress that too, Dr. Mary, that, you know, um, I try to be optimistic, and believe me, through the journey, it was hard. It was very hard. And I just say I just want peace. I want to be peaceful through this. And I did meditate, I prayed. And those things got me through, along with the tremendous support from family, friends, people I didn't even know. It just made the journey a lot easier.
Mhm.
But yeah, initially, sure. What's the first thing that you think of when somebody says you have cancer?
You think of death, you do, you think negative, you do.
Right. And that was the very first thing I thought of. I'm gonna die.
Mm.
And but again, thank goodness for Komen. All those women, all those survivors, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, you saw it, Dr. Mary, because I know you were there.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what gave me hope.
Mhm.
I just thought, this is doable and I'm going to survive this.
That's right. Wow, I love that positive attitude. Mentioning support, did you join any support group? I know you have a support group now, but did you join while you were going through your journey? Or
So I did go to Gilda's Club. They have a support group, and I did interact. I only went once. I wasn't you know, actually it was sad. It made me actually sad because you saw people that were worse off than you, and
Mhm,
so you almost felt guilty that why was my cancer,
mhm,
and then you saw people that were better off than you, which was interesting. So I liked hearing the stories and talking with them.
mhm,
But what I did mostly
mhm,
was be on Facebook, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I joined a group specific to my type of breast cancer. So I could ask questions.
mhm,
If you're having a bad day, you could write something. So I kept it on Facebook
mhm,
pretty much. That's where I had my support group, and just talking to because I had several friends who had gone through what I was going through, so that helped as well.
mhm. I think we need that support. We need to encourage and lift up one another. You know, could you tell me about your what your I onco oncologist
Oncologist.
told you about your survival rate, you
So
know?
yeah, when I was initially diagnosed, and I knew that it was aggressive, and that was my greatest fear. And again, as a PA, I researched everything even before I went to the doctor.
Right.
So when I ultimately found out what type of breast cancer I had, um, I was scared because I thought, wow, this is aggressive, even though it's stage 1. Look, I have to do all of this treatment.
Mhm,
But when he sat down, that first consultation with me, lovely, wonderful oncologist
mm,
at Carmanos, he explained the treatment very clear to me. And he said, if you do all of this,
mhm.
your 5-year survival rate will be close to or just a little bit over 97%.
That's powerful.
So
Yeah.
I'm at year 4, so
Mhm.
I'm thankful.
Yeah.
And then my question to him is, well, what about beyond 5 years?
Right.
He said, studies sometimes don't go out that far. So right now he could tell me what my 5-year survival rate would be. So I'm happy. But I do believe it might get a little less as time goes on. I just read about that this morning.
Mm,
But and so that made me so grateful.
yeah.
You hear the statistic, and I don't think we should always go by numbers, because you know what, when you're on the opposite side of the statistic, that number doesn't mean too much, right? I
That's
mean,
true.
you're thinking, well, I only have a 3% chance of a reoccurrence, but you know what? People have reoccurrences. So when you're on the opposite side of the good statistic, it's
Right.
not so good, right? But I was happy to know
Mm,
that and find that out right at the beginning.
right. So how have you changed your lifestyle, your eating habits, whatever, since you've been diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah, it's been again a journey with that as well. I almost became a little obsessed with the wanting to be as healthy as I could be. I was overweight initially, and still am, prior to getting breast cancer, and that is a risk factor, obesity, for any type of cancer.
Right.
But I did look at my diet. I do also see a naturopath oncologist, and one of the associates was managing my diet, and the other one supplements.
Mhm,
So they did an extensive amount of blood work to determine what's going on and where I'm deficient.
mhm,
So that was great. So I take some supplements, and then also the diet. Yeah, I significantly changed the way I ate, more plant-based, vegetables, salads, fish,
mhm.
um, and a little turkey
Yeah.
and some eggs. I still eat eggs.
Right.
I try to stay away from cheese, but that's just like my favorite.
No.
But again, the reason I stay away from chicken and the dairy products is because of the hormones, and because my cancer was hormone driven. That's why. So I don't want to be clear about that. It's not that was my breast cancer. It might not be somebody else's.
Right.
So yeah, I significantly did that. And then products. I
Mhm.
really look at products now, hair products. I mean, like I said, my hair was dyed dark.
Uh-huh.
I chose not to dye it when my hair grew back. I say this, my hair was my silver lining to my journey because it came back, I think, pretty nice.
It's
Um, and that's what I said. I never got compliments before on my hair. So so yeah, I didn't go back to putting chemicals on my head. And again, there's dyes that are not as bad. I did look into that, but I just chose not to. And everything, soap, skincare, deodorant.
mhm.
I changed it all. And I hope it helps,
Sure.
but
Yeah,
I think we really don't know why specifically, we get the cancer,
I know.
you know, but anything that can help, right?
That's right. That's right. We can add to it, right? I know. Well, it's been so great listening to your journey, your adventure, your experience, so other women can know that, there's a wonderful life after cancer. So what message would you like to provide to the women in our community? I always call it a wisdom nugget that you can share with our
Right. Well, the wisdom nugget is what you had said at the beginning, at the end of my bio. Get your yearly mammogram. I can't stress that enough. It could save your life because it saved mine. And also to know your body as a woman. Know if are there changes. And again, nothing too small or too insignificant. Women's intuition goes a long way. If you really feel something's wrong, get to that doctor. And even if that doctor says to you, let's just keep an eye on it, and you still feel, go for that second opinion. I went for second opinions for my surgeon, for my surgery, and you know what? They both were the same, but which was good. And I
Mhm.
just chose what surgeon I wanted to go with. But just know your body, listen to your intuition, get that mammogram.
Wow. That's such wise counsel. And if we could just do that, half the battle is over, right? Because early detection is what's going to help us. And like I said,
That's right.
October is just the awareness month, but we need to be aware of this every day of our lives because it's affecting so many women. When I saw the statistics, it's like we can prevent some of that by getting our
Yeah. I mean, like I said, 1 in 8 women in their lifetime will get breast cancer. 1 in 8. That's anybody. Think about wherever you are, at church, in a meeting, in 1 in 8 of those women will be diagnosed.
bodies. Yes. Thank you so much, Josephine. I just love
Thank you.
appreciate you for just widening our horizon about this disease so that we can eradicate that. So
Well, thank you for having me.
yes, so have a blessed day and we'll talk to you soon. This is
Okay.
Segars said bye for now. We'll see you next time. Bye now.